A superbug gene detected in Canada. It was first discovered by Chinese researchers in November. Labeled MCR1, the gene has been found in E. coli samples from a woman in Canada's capital, Ottawa, in 2011, and in 2 beef samples from meat sold in the province of Ontario in 2010. Fears are that the superbug, which is resistant to even the strongest of antibiotics, is spreading. RT's Alex Mihailovich is following the story in Toronto. Alex, what more can you tell me about this disturbing superbug?
Pretty scary stuff, actually. We're talking about one drug in particular that people are concerned about. It's called colistin, and this is an antibiotic that's given in very severe cases of disease and infection. Now, that's what where the fear lies, that colistin will become ineffective against this bug itself. So studies have been done here in Canada. There's a public health research center in Winnipeg. 1,000 samples were taken from hospital rooms and from clinics around the country. 3 of those came positive for this superbug. So it's there. We know that it's in the country, and dating back to what you mentioned, 2010, 2011, this thing has existed here for a while. So the concern is, if this actually does get into the system, if it spreads with E. coli and with other bacteria, we could be in a lot of trouble, because you remember probably back in 2003, we had some issues here with SARS in Canada. In Toronto, there was a pretty wide epidemic here. It got pretty frightening at one point, and you know, we don't want to go through that again. So doctors are fearing the worst, but of course are hoping for the best.
Well, concerning that is popping up in a couple of different instances, is the medical community making any sort of recommendation on how to stop the spread if in fact it is spreading?
Absolutely, and you'll be surprised to hear what they're saying. It's some of the most basic things, actually. For you and for me and for our viewers, the most important thing is to wash your hands a lot. So they're saying wash your hands 5 times a day. That keeps germs away and superbugs away as well. As for medical facilities, they're saying that hospitals really need to check their procedures when they're doing surgery, as well as the fact that dividing patients is a very important thing. So having private rooms for patients, the more private rooms you have, the better it is, because the more people you have in one room, obviously the easier disease spreads. Also, one thing that they mentioned, especially when you're talking about beef and other food products, let's take the antibiotics out of our food chain, and that's one huge problem. Antibiotics, the more you have in your system, the more resistant your body and the more resistant these bugs become to that. So we know as children, yeah, you've probably been on antibiotics before, but if you don't need them, don't take them. And when it comes to food, hey, I do it, and I know a lot of people that do. Try to avoid beef or chicken or your pork or any other food that you might be eating that's high in antibiotics. There's a lot of grass-fed beef out there that's antibiotic-free and hormone-free as well, so that's probably the healthy way to go in the first place, and it's a good step in the right direction when we're talking about superbugs as well.
Little known about it, but thanks for sharing what you do know. Alex Mihailovich in Toronto, Canada.